for the UNFCCC to be simulated at Vaze MUN. So first things first, we would try to keep it a little informal, and we would rather call it an icebreaker session considering it's a virtual conference. So firstly, I think we should try to get to know each other a little better. So what we have planned is that we will be starting with the introductions. Each delegate will introduce themselves, and after that we will proceed with clarifying your queries which have been coming on the position papers. So that is the second thing which we will take up, and then we will go to the rules of procedure. After we explain the rules of procedure to you, we will be addressing all your queries and doubts about the procedure, and then we will leave you for some time for lobbying with each other, right? Because we don't know if you have had that chance to sort of lobby with each other, which basically means to interact, understand the flow of the debate. What is it that you would want to do for these 2 days based on your individual expectations? So that's the plan for today. And what we will be starting now with is the introduction. So in your introduction, I request you to tell us your name, right? And along with that, the institution that you are currently enrolled in, school or college, along with the city where you are right now. And then you have to tell us why did you register for UNFCCC at Vaze MUN? What is it that made you register for this conference? Did anyone push you for it? Was it your own decision, etc.? And after you explain us why you registered, you have to tell us what are your expectations from this conference. That is, after these 2 days, what is it that you expect? Are you here only for the sake of getting a certificate, or you are here because there is nothing better to do, or you're here because you want to learn something new, you know, whatever your reason may be. So just to repeat 5 things: your name, your institution's name, the city where you are right now, why did you register for Vaze EMUN 2020 and UNFCCC, and what are your expectations from this committee and the conference, right? So Sarthak, can you please call out their names? Actually, before that, I would like Sarthak and Bhavya to please introduce themselves, and then we'll begin with the intros. Sarthak?
Thank you, sir. So hi guys, my name is Sarthak Bhattamishra. I am studying at the School of Law, NMIMS Bombay. Been in association with law for a very long time. UNFCCC happens to be a little of relevance, as the members of the organizing committee would also agree to, because it's one of the burning topics. We are living at the blithe of existence. As all of us are speaking, the world is getting warmer, to put it in a very oversimplified way, and anybody who's from Delhi would understand the problem with the unclean air which happens in every Diwali season, irrespective of whether you burn crackers or not. Long story short of things is, we know that global warming is a real topic, but most of the times we do not see environmental committees being simulated. So the only request I have, I'm sure Shivam sir would also agree, is that there is a certain responsibility that everyone carries, not just you as delegates, but your executive board as well, where there is something more than winning a prize out here. So irrespective of whatever your amount of preparation would be, or however well prepared or ill prepared you would be, I hope you do not come and give us just bare facts. उससे ज़्यादा थोड़ा analysis कीजिए, make this a very personal issue to all of us. And yeah, I hope all of you have fun. And for any mistakes that may knowingly or unknowingly happen from my end, at least, I hope I am seeking forgiveness on the very outset. Apart from that, have fun.
Thank you, Sarthak. And I agree with you. Devika? No, sorry, Bhavya first. So Sarthak will be serving as the vice chairperson in common parlance. And in UNFCCC parlance, he will be the Deputy Executive Secretary for this committee. And Bhavya will be serving as the rapporteur for this committee. Bhavya, you may please introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. I hope I'm audible. So, hello everybody. Firstly, a very warm welcome for this ROP session. I'm Bhavya. I'm the OC member and also will be the rapporteur for 2 days. And firstly, I would like to congratulate all that you have participated in this MUN. You have made the right choices because the EBs are fantastic, and we, the OC members, will try to make this session as helpful and as uh, equally interesting. And if you have any queries, to be there by your side for any help that we could require, that you require. And yes, I'm eagerly waiting for the debates to come up and solutions for environment. I really feel very related to the environment, and therefore I guess I chose to be in UNFCCC because this is an environment-based committee. And really looking forward for all the debates and solutions coming up. It will be really interesting, and efforts from all of you all will be really, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you again. And I would like to say that the EVs are fantastic once again because it's a point to be noted forever. Thank you so much.
Shivam sir, I had a request to make before we move any further.
Yes.
I request all the delegates, as I believe Madam Sejala had also mentioned, that considering that Shivam sir and I agree to the fact that this needs to be an interactive session where we get to talk to you, to all of you, and not just as your executive board members, but as people in a certain committee, we request all of you to kindly switch on your webcams. If it's possible, if there are no internet connection problems at your end, it would give us the human touch to things. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarthak. We also have Devika in the committee. She will be the organizing committee member for UNFCCC, and she will be helping you out with screen sharing and, uh, you know, solving your technical issues. So Devika, could you please introduce yourself?
Okay, thank you so much. So my name is Devika Pawar. I am going to help you all with all the issues you have regarding the meeting, and I'll make sure that I solve all of them. Feel free to contact me anytime. Thank you.
Thank you, Devika. All right, so I'll also introduce myself. My name is Shivam. I will be chairing this committee. And as I said, in UNFCCC parlance, I will be serving as the executive secretary. I am really looking forward to this conference for two reasons. Number one, because it is Vaze MUN. I had the privilege, in fact, of experiencing their hospitality and their brilliant organizational skills. I was a first-hand witness to that last year when the conference was held offline in their college. And I think now this year, of course, when I got this opportunity, this was a new committee that was created. I'm really looking forward to it. And the second reason is that which Sarthak already mentioned. This committee is really special. You don't see it being simulated left, right, and center. This is what we can refer to it is an unconventional sort of committee, right? And you don't come across such unconventional committees, which are again very relevant, right? Now, somebody can go and argue that Game of Thrones is also an unconventional committee. No, I'm not talking about unconventional committees of those types. We have seen everything. We have seen what Marvel, DC. We have seen Vampire Diaries. I don't know. I don't know the extent to which we will see the unconventional committees. But by unconventional, I really mean relevant for the world at large, for me and you, right? Because climate change is real, and it is something that each one of us has experienced, has seen, and we all want to do something about it. So I think this platform will be right for you to understand the basic climate framework that we have. And that's why we have kept the agenda as also not too technical in nature, but something that you can relate to, you know, because when we talk about zero net emissions, I'm sure a lot of you will come without any research. We don't encourage that. But our point is that this is not a technical agenda, right? And yet at the same time, it is very, very comprehensive. There are so many topics that you could cover, right? So to pick, choose those selective topics is also a skill, which will obviously require all of you to interact a bit more with each other. And somebody mentioned that in the group also. So we will not be spoon feeding you by giving you topics. We have given you a comprehensive background guide. We will be explaining to you the rules of procedure, and we will be moderating the debate. You are expected to take the debate forward, right? Because at the end of the day, it is your committee. So that's about it. That's about me and my expectations from the committee. Yes, to really speak about what do I expect at the end of 2 days, it is for, you know, for you to have a good learning experience. You know, for you to say that, hey, listen, in these 2 days, I got to learn something new, something that I didn't know about. Or if I already knew about it, I got to know it better, you know. So that is, I think, our expectation generally as executive board members, because we will be moderating and we will expect you to take the committee forward and enhance your learning experience, or have the, in the terms of economics, optimal utilization of the committee's time. So, right. So Sarthak, I think now we can start with the introduction of the delegates. Yes.
All right, guys, this is the point of time when everyone starts introducing themselves. Just to like remind everybody, if it was not clear by what Sir said. So what we expect of you is to tell us about yourself. Yeah, there is a format Sir gave. Please tell us your name, where you are from, which institution you are a part of, school/college, and yeah, if you would want to share something about yourself, what your expectation of the executive board, what your expectation of the committee, the expectation of the agenda, if you believe the agenda is not up to the mark, whatever your views are, please substantiate on it, and let's move. I'll straight away start from the first country that I look at. I think it's the delegate of Hungary. Ma'am, if you could introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Mandita Joshi. I'm from Thane and I'm a first timer. I'm from Kertur College. I'm actually studying in 12th standard. This is my first time, but I am very excited and looking forward for this interesting and intellectual debate. Actually, frankly speaking, this committee, I laud this committee because I don't have a choice actually in which committee I should go. So, but obviously this climate change and achieving zero net emission will cover the most of the areas. Like it is the global threat, and overcoming this global threat is really important. It's a need of an hour. So yes, and I'm not looking for any expectations because I really know that I would learn something definitely from this interesting debate. So yeah, looking forward for the exciting debate. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. With this, we now move on to the delegate of Belarus.
Hi, my name is Avinash. I'm a third year engineering student from Vaze Chamber. I live in Navi Mumbai, and yeah, I had nothing to do on a weekend, so I just registered for this MUN. And yeah, it's also giving me an excuse to procrastinate my studies for an exam which start on Monday. So yeah.
Appreciate that, sir. Thank you. Delegate of Slovak Republic.
Thank you, sir. A very good evening to everyone. This is the delegate of Slovak Republic. My name is Abir Tiwari. I'm basically from Bilaspur, Chhattisgarh, but I study in Pune, Balaji Law College. As Avinash very rightly mentioned, that I am doing this committee when I have the exam. And also, I came to this committee because of Sarthak, maybe. Now that's open to interpretations.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Delegate of Argentina.
Hi, I am Sakshi. I am from Mumbai itself and I'm studying engineering in Vidyalankar Institute of Technology. And I just came across in my search feed about like Vaze and I saw, and then most of the registrations were closed, and then they introduced a newer committee, and I was like, oh, then Shivam sir is chairing, and I've delegated under Shivam sir, and I was like, oh, great. And I've never really done an environmental committee. I usually do humanitarian committee, so I thought it was a great opportunity. So I went for it.
Perfect. Thank you, ma'am. The delegate also requesting all of the delegates again to kindly switch on their webcams. It's going to be a little easier for us to converse as well. Yes. Can the rest of you guys do it? That goes for everyone. That goes for the OC members as well, so that we get to know at least each other, who the human behind the delegate is. Right? Great. We have the delegate of, I'm not sure, ma'am, are you United Kingdom? Your name is...
Yeah, United Kingdom, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Could you kindly introduce yourself?
All right. So I'm literally sorry that I won't be able to on my camera due to network issues over here. But hi, I am Anipa Darod. I am a student of Praveen Gandhi College of Law, and I'm currently in my third year of law, and I'm based out of Bombay. And last year I had done a committee on environment, and that really caught my attention. So this year, which is why I wanted to do UNF Triple C. And one more reason why I wanted to do this committee is because of the chairs, because of Shivam sir. And so I'm really looking forward to a great debate. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Delegate of Romania, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, sir. I am Jain Sheikh from DY Patil International School, Nerul. I am currently stated in Navi Mumbai, and I was referred to this Vaze MUN by my mentor, who is currently guiding me through many MUNs, which I've been really caught up between MUNs. Like even the last weekend, I was doing other MUNs, and yes, I am looking forward to many opportunities ahead too. And my expectation from this committee is just taking forward a very great learning experience from like taking a very great learning ahead from this committee. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Delegate of United States of America. Delegate of USA. No? Okay. I'm not sure if I've covered Delegate of Belarus or not, but I think I have. Delegate of Chile. Hi, ma'am.
Hi, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Yeah, there's a lot of sound outside. Hi, sir. I'm Delegate of Chile. My name is Shraddha Anish Kumar. I am studying in SIS third year BA Politics. I choose this committee because I've never done any committee on environment. It's mostly related to human rights issues and all. So I'm really looking forward for this committee. And this topic, this agenda is very nice because zero emission sounds utopian, but it is not impossible at the same time. So maybe I can add on my knowledge and use it for future as well. So I'm really looking forward for a fruitful debate here.
Thank you, ma'am. Delegate of Bhutan. Sir, Delegate of Bhutan, can you hear me? Am I inaudible to everyone, or is it just...
No, sir, you're audible.
Okay. Delegate of Bhutan, if you can hear me, could you introduce yourself or at least type down if you're having some audio issues? All right, we'll come to Delegate of Bhutan in a while. Delegate of France, are you with us?
Yes, sir. So I guess I'm audible to everyone.
Yes, sir, you are.
Yeah, so greetings to everyone. This is Rahul Balakrishna from Vaze College of Law. I'm currently pursuing my 5 years course in law, TYBLS. So I've been to a couple of months. However, I'm not having much of an idea in regards to how this committee would work. So that's the very reason I'm being a part of this one, just to get to know about the working of this committee and just merely to get an experience in regards to the same. So that's one thing. And secondly, yeah, I would just humbly like to ask the OC to please provide me with the study guide, because I guess I haven't received it. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Sir, Sarthak, can I?
Yeah, sir, by all means.
So, sir, if there has been any, miscommunication and you have not received it, you can go to the website and the guides are uploaded on the website, which was stated on the Instagram page and under the resources section. So you can do it right now. If you still can't find them, let me know. I'll send it to you personally.
Okay, fine, sir. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right. Thank you, sir. With this, Delegate of Egypt, if you're with us.
Yes, I'm here, but I won't be able to switch on my camera because I'm using my phone and I don't know how to adjust this and keep it straight. So, okay. Yeah, my name is Tarun Patil and I'm from Mumbai. I'm studying currently in Bombay Scottish. And the reason I wanted to participate in this conference is because I had participated 2 years back as well, and I really like this MUN. Well, this time I registered and got OSC, which I really didn't like, and I requested the Secretary General if I could switch committees because I really like this committee and I wanted to participate in this committee. So yeah, I got the chance, and yeah, thank you. That's it.
All right. Thank you, sir. With this, we move on to the Delegate of Denmark.
Hello, delegates. I'm extremely sorry I can't really turn on my video.
That is okay, sir. You don't have to explain why you can't turn on the videos. That's fine. That was a request. You don't have to adhere to it.
Okay, so delegates, my name is Jain, and I live in Mumbai, and I'm currently studying in Jain. I'm 11th, and I chose this committee because I really want to explore different committees, and also I've never done an environmental committee before, so that's it.
Thank you, sir. With this, we now move on to, I'm assuming this is the Delegate of New Zealand, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, sir. Greetings, everyone. I'm Bhattamishra, and I'm from New International School, and I came here to learn something and have a fruitful day.
Thank you, ma'am. With this, we now move on to the Delegate of India.
Yes, sir. Hello, everyone. My name is Zuidi Tarvelkar. I live in Thane. I'm from KG Joshi College of Arts. I registered for this committee because I thought that it would be a great learning experience and I'll get more information about environmental changes. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Delegate of Finland.
Yes, sir. I'm here. Hello?
Yes, sir. Just a sec. Someone's playing the piano. As much as we appreciate the musical prowess in the middle of the committee section, we would request you to mute yourself.
Apologies, sir.
It's okay. Delegate of Finland.
Yes, sir. My name is Adhan Bhattacharya. I'll be representing the Delegate of Finland. I live in Navi Mumbai. I'm studying in Idle University, Idle Institute under Mumbai University, for a course of BSc I registered for Vaze one because one of my friends asked me, "Are you going?" I was like, "What are the agendas? What are the committees?" He told me about them. I was like, "Yeah, I'm for it." All right. My expectations from the committee is just to solve any one problem. Even if it is a tertiary problem to the agenda, I don't have a problem with that. I just want to solve at least one problem.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. With this, we now move on to Delegate of Poland, if I have not taken your opinion yet.
Yes, sir. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sasmit Shetty, and I am studying in Leo International School, Thane. I was known about this MUN by my teachers, and the reason behind me for registering this MUN was the topic. I am interested in the topics of climate. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So, which class are you in?
Grade 8.
8th grade, right? Nice. Glad to have you with us. With this, Delegate of Japan, if you would be kind enough to introduce yourself.
Greetings. First of all, greetings to Shivam sir and Sarthak sir. It's a pleasure to be here in this committee. I am Tushar. I am a student from ILS Law College, Pune. And the reason why I decided to do UNFCCC is because I think the world has been negligent about environment and its concerns for way too long. And it's time that we finally set the record of a trade-off between development and environmental concerns once for and all. So I think that it becomes extremely important in light of current events to come here and discuss such pertaining issues, thinking about future 2050 to be very specific. And I think it's a process and it's a good start in 2020 to think about 2050. So, and again, I think some delegate rightly said, everyone's here to learn, and so am I. And I think that we have a lot to take, not just from each other, but from the respected EB members as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Delegate of Republic of Korea, if you're with us.
Hello everyone, my name is Palak Goyal. I'm currently pursuing BMM from Jain College, Mumbai. So the reason behind taking part in MUN is because this would be my first MUN, and I would like to learn more and try to know everything, rules and procedures of everything. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. If I have missed out on any delegate of Bhutan, sir, would you like to introduce yourself now? If the internet connection is fine at your end. No? All right. Any delegate I've missed out on? Anyone who would want to reintroduce themselves? Anybody who would want to add something?
A small request entertained.
Yes, sir.
Owing to the fact that Delegate of Japan joined late to the committee, could I have the introduction of the EB members again?
Sir, I am sure, sir. Hi, I'm Sarthak Bhattamishra. You rightly pointed out you came to the committee because you wanted to be in a committee with executive board members being Shivam sir and Sarthak. I do not know why you would want to be in a committee with I as the executive board member, but I trust your opinion on it. Shivam sir, if you would want to reintroduce yourself once.
No, it's on their website.
It's on the website.
Delegate, you go and read that. All right. And also, I mean, jokes apart, we are facing certain time constraints. Please understand that we have to clarify all your queries, not only about the procedure, but also the position papers. So considering anybody else is, I mean, I think everybody has introduced. Okay. Just in case if you're left out, or, you can always introduce yourself later, just put it in the chat box. Now, I will request all of you to think and ask us your queries about the position papers. So Sarthak is sitting here. He's he's ready to answer all your queries. So if you have any queries, requests, anything about the position papers, please raise your hands in the participants tab, and Sarthak will recognize you one by one and you can ask your queries. If you have any queries, any requests, if you have not submitted the paper so far, or whatever query you have about the position papers only right now, please get it clarified.
I would request the hosts to kindly take cognizance of whoever is raising their hands, because I can't see it individually. So, yeah.
I can't see it either. I don't think they have any queries.
Yeah, मुझे भी नहीं लग रहा कुछ है. So there are no queries on position papers. Am I?
No, but Sarthak, do you want to address them on this, considering the number of papers that you have got, or just generally?
ठीक है, sir. I'll address them on this. Okay, guys. So how many of you here are not aware of the position papers? Raise your hand. Anybody who does not know what a position paper is, when we have to give it, why position paper, what's the meaning of life, besides the point. But what a position paper is and when it has to be submitted, what is its relevance? Anybody who does not know of it, raise your hand right now. We have a paucity of time, as sir has rightly identified, so we'll hurry this up a little. Nobody has any questions. Okay, so one, two. Okay, Bhavya, take ask them to speak one by one because I can't see who's raising the hands.
Okay, fine, I'll do that. Okay, so going with Republic of Korea.
Hello, sir. As I haven't been any. This would be my first MUN, so I don't know how, like, what things to be included in the position paper, and how it's to be written, basically.
Ma'am, when did you join the group? The
Uh,
WhatsApp group.
It's been a long time, like 2 to
Okay,
3 days
so
before.
there was a message which was floated by Sejal, and there was also the same message which was forwarded by me on the group. I'm going to re-forward it again.
Okay.
That has everything that needs to be how you should make a position paper, or rather, let's do this. Sejal, are you with us?
Sarthak, I think Bhavya can do that.
All right. Bhavya, do you have the two messages that Sejal had put in the UNFCCC group? The very first two messages.
Sorry, even I joined the group
Right.
late, but there's one in the study guide. The first page itself says about the position paper, what should be written in the format, everything.
On the mail that was sent to the delegates, right?
Yeah, the study guide which they have.
Great, great. I'm going to still re-forward these messages on the WhatsApp group. Delegate of South Korea, Republic of Korea, my apologies. That message is also embedded in the mail that you would have received from the secretariat, which is the study guide wala mail. Please read through it. It has everything written in a comprehensive. Bhavya, could you kindly mute yourself, please? Thank you. So, Delegate of Republic of Korea, that message is comprehensive enough. If you go through it once, it's self-explanatory. It speaks of everything that needs to be done. It speaks of the weightage. It speaks of the criteria on which you would be marked and gives you the deadline. The deadline again is 11:59 p.m. tonight. And that is non-negotiable. It is not changing. That goes for everyone. Irrespective of however cogent your reasons are, this message was given to everybody, I believe, at least 24 hours prior to joining the group or being a part of the committee. We are seeking not more than, if I go by the verbatim of the message that was sent to all of you, the maximum page limit is 2 pages with 1.5 line spacing. 2 pages with 1.5 line spacing is not even 400 words. So the challenge here is not to give us a lot of content. It used to be about selective content that you feel is the best about your country policy that the executive board should be aware of. So choose wisely, live well, send us the paper by 11:59 p.m. I had to address before I go any further with regards to the number of position papers that I've received. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 position papers in a committee of 32 people. There are 24 people apparently who do not want the 20% weightage of marks. So, yeah. You do understand 20% is essentially means that you would be marked out of 80. If the total bar of marks is 100, then you would only be marked out of 80. Those 20%, those 20 marks, 20% marks rather, is the make or break deal for who is in the cream layer and who isn't. I'm putting it out in as outright and blunt terms as can be. Please get serious about it. 11:59 is the time. If you believe that you can still be in the merit list even without you sending the position papers, so be it. Otherwise, the timeline is 11:59 because I'll start checking on the position papers from tonight. And tomorrow is the day. Tomorrow and day after is the days of the conference. All right. Okay. Delegate of Republic of Korea, have I answered your question to your satisfaction?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you
If
so
there are
much.
any further queries, the group is open. Ping me about your position paper issues before 11:59.
Okay.
Nothing after that. All right.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Bhavya, who has other questions?
Okay, Delegate Hungary.
Okay, Hungary?
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Sir, what are we supposed to add in the section of brief background of agenda?
Brief background of agenda. Right. So you have to essentially
Yes.
tell us. Oh, wait. So I should not be answering the substantive question, but to give you a fairly good idea, if I were to ask you, why are you participating in this particular meeting of the UNFCCC, you have to tell us that. What is your relationship with the agenda at hand? So when you look at the parameters, it is number 4 is brief background of the agenda. Number 5 is past international actions taken. You have to essentially tell me why Hungary is related to the agenda at hand, or how Hungary is related to the agenda at hand.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bhavya, next question, please.
Delegate of UK.
Delegate of UK, hi, how can I help you?
Yeah, sir. So I had a question that could you please elaborate on the marking scheme of the position papers, like within those 20 marks, like if I could ask, and also what is the relevance of citations?
Citations will be very relevant because if I find out, I'll go backwards first. If I get to know that it's plagiarized, I will mark accordingly. I will not give you negative markings, but I may not give you marks otherwise that I would have given you for an independent thought of yours. Now, obviously, understanding that this is not a real-time UN session, this cannot be 100% by your own thought. So there are certain things that I can allow. If there are ideas that you have taken from other websites or governmental sources, I can understand. But if it is a direct cut, copy, paste where you have ditto put down, puked into your paper, whatever has been there, given in some other source, if it's word to word the same thing, ditto word on word, then I will not give you the marks that you otherwise would have if you would have made things on your own words, in your own words, right? So that is insofar as independent thought is concerned. Now, when it comes to plagiarism, if you're taking a source, please put up with a proper citation, be it Chicago, be it APA, be it Blue Book, be it Harvard or Scholar, whatever it is. A proper citation form mein aapko ye dalna hai where you have taken this certain data or statistics from. Are we clear on the second question?
Yeah, sir. Perfect.
Now, when it comes to the first question, when you look at, there are 7 headings that are given, right? You will be marked on points 5, 6, and 7 primarily. 4 is something I will not. So when it comes to priority or the highest marking bracket, it is going to be past international actions taken, policy decisions and steps taken by the country, and possible solution. This is going to carry the most of the marks, maybe say 90% of the marks. Apart from that, brief background of the agenda is something which is not too much of a, not is easily discernible. If somebody does a mere reading of their country's policies, उसमें ज़्यादा marking नहीं होगा. But if you want to know, then whatever the marking is, without giving you the exact number of the marks that is associated with all of them, the 20% marking is primarily dependent on points 5, 6, and 7.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Delegate of Japan.
Delegate of Japan, hi, how can I help you?
Yeah, this was in regarding to the length of the position paper. It was so. I'm not sure about this, but if there's a negative form of marking for the position paper, in the sense that we cut marks for every mistake that we make, including formatting or plagiarism or absolutely anything else. So will there be like a certain level of penalization for slightly longer position paper, owing to the fact that since it's UNFCCC would like require like a policy oriented paper as well, because there will be certain things if you're trying to look at past actions, and if you try to not just mention a mechanism but also like sort of give a brief description of the same, it could sort of increase the length of the position paper. So will that be a little leniency would there be shown regarding it, or will have to strictly maintain within the word limit?
So you have to strictly maintain within the word limit. Insofar as penalization is concerned, I won't penalize, but एक समय के बाद अगर मान लो आपका word limit, rather page limit is 2 pages, I'll stop reading after that. So whatever marking happens within whatever is included in those 2 pages. How you put it up is exactly where your drafting and your formatting skills are going to come to play. Whichever points you believe is the most important, you put it up. A position paper is not where we check your policy understanding, sir. A position paper is where we check your where we check the understanding that you have of the agenda. Rather, policy, हाँ, आप कह सकते हो we are checking your domestic policy understanding, but उसके आगे पीछे we don't check on anything else.
All right, thank you so much.
So there is a certain understanding of things. If I may take this thought one step forward, कि position paper के दायरे के अंदर के द्वारा we also check how well versed with the understanding of policy making or policy mechanisms with regards to, in this case, net global emission cutting by 2050 is concerned. We won't be checking that. I won't be checking that at least. But then I also have a certain handicap. I have to give the same sort of treatment or standard to everybody. Beyond 2 pages, I'll not read anymore. I will read. I'll appreciate the fact that you have a certain amount of knowledge. If you want to put up things beyond 2 pages, by all means, खुल के डालिए. But आपको marking नहीं दिया जाएगा. So please don't make your paper fancy. It doesn't need to have the logo of your country. Doesn't need to have the logo of the UNFCCC. This is a strictly academic simulation. We can do all of that with the draft resolution where you beautify the thing, and we would appreciate it. But when it comes to the position paper, I am only looking at brass tack, fit, and substance, nothing more.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome, sir. Bhavya,
And just to add, sorry, to what Sarthak said, and Sarthak, actually, you may consider this also. Supposing they don't have a uniform citation style, because many of them may not even be aware about it. Yeah. If they could add references towards the end,
correct,
that will also work.
Agreed, agreed. What we could do also, taking Sir's point one step forward, if you do not know how to put citations, put a different tab or like a different page of references. I will not consider that under the 2-page limit. And I can go through the reading of that, and then I can see how much of it is taken verbatim or how much of it is a thought which has been picked up. But at no point of time, please understand this, I am not going to penalize because my ego is an inflated balloon. I want you people to put in an honest effort. I understand that there is a paucity of time, and then there might be a number of problems everyone's facing. But I will not penalize you, but that does not mean that I will give you marks open-handedly. I'll stop beyond a certain point of time. So I thank Sir for bringing this point out. Anybody who does not know or does not have the time to put in citations properly can put in a separate page of references. Works for everyone? Common?
Yes, sir.
Yes? Yes.
Sir, the delegate of Bhutan has a certain question.
Just a minute, delegate of Bhutan, will come to you. All clear with whatever I've said so far? I'm assuming.
Yeah, so just a clarification. So the 2 pages of the position paper, and we'll have the references on the 3rd page, right?
You can keep the references in the 3rd page, but make it a separate page so that I do not add it under the 2 pages. Right. Thought, even if it means that your thought ends with the 4th page, I would only consider 2 pages. Your references should be a brand new page. That's all.
Okay, sir.
Good. All right. Delegate of Bhutan, your question.
So the delegate wishes to ask that is there a specific format for citation? I mean, uniform format.
Sir, आप ऐसे कर सकते हो. There are many of them. You have Chicago, APA, Oscola, Blue Book, Harvard. There are n number of them.
Yes, sir.
Citation you use after your position paper ends, wherever it ends, in a separate page, put up what the citation style is.
Right, sir. Okay, right? Sir.
That goes for everyone. Whoever I have forgotten, this is my mistake that I've forgotten to mention this in the study guide as well as the message that was floated. Whatever citation style is, in a 3rd page, just put up what citation style you have used. That's all.
Also, sorry for going out of track, but Delegate of Bhutan, since you're audible now, could you please introduce yourself?
Right, sure. So, hi everyone, this is the Delegate of Bhutan, and my name is Kapil Joshi, and I'm a student of law at the University of Petroleum and Energy Studies, Dehradun. And this is perhaps 6th or 7th MUN, which I'm doing. And hopefully the agenda that was chosen by me, it was chosen because I have had an interest, I have had an experience over this agenda priorly. So I wish to diversify my research in this area and collaborate in a diplomatic way with every other delegate.
All right. Sarthak, we can go to the next one.
Right. Also, to answer the delegate of Japan's question, Blue Book and Harvard citation are only common with regards to law. Harvard referencing citation style, rather the HRS, is a completely different ballgame altogether than the Blue Book. Just putting it out, didn't want to type it all out. With this, we now move on to any other questions, Bhavya?
Yes, Delegate of Finland raised his hand.
Delegate of Finland?
Yes, sir. So my question is regarding to the point of policy or steps taken by individual country. So, there will be certain amount of plagiarism regarding to steps taken by a country, because obviously it's already been established that this country has released these documents or this national action plan. So, are you talking about taking those points and framing those policies in your own words? Is that what you would wish for?
Would be preferable to be very honest about it, with very specific regards to our position paper issue. There are going to be points which are going to be common, also because of the fact that we have kept it strictly at 2 pages. So there will be there will be a very high chance that whatever you may write about your country, and not just for Finland but for any country that there is a very high chance that if I were to put this under a plagiarism checker, there is going to be a certain amount of commonality which comes up. So my understanding of plagiarism, rather copied work, is not in strict terms to be absolutely independent thought. It just means कि आपके जो भी evaluations होंगे, whatever you put up in your position paper, it should not directly come from a single source word to word. It would always be preferable if you could put it up in your own words. I understand that there is a certain limitation when it comes to an online MUN with regards to keeping it absolutely unplagiarized, but we can try putting in our own input from an external thought. So, long story short, to answer your question, it would be preferable if you could write it out in your own words.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Bhavya, are there any other questions?
The hand of Bhutan is still raised. So, do you have any other doubts, sir?
So the delegate of Bhutan has a doubt.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
So the delegate of Bhutan would like to ask the chair that firstly, does the moderation begin from tomorrow? The marking.
Sir, is it
yes?
Sure, sir.
Okay, sir. Sir, a follow-up question to it.
Yes.
Sir, if the marking begins from tomorrow itself, sir, if the moderated caucus topics are already discussed priorly, sir, does they hold any relevance when it comes to the session tomorrow?
See, whatever you are doing prior to the conference is a part and parcel of what we call as lobbying. Considering you have done 6 or 7 conferences, you would have been aware of this term, but those who are not, this is where you actually interact with the other delegates and try to figure out the course of the debate. What is it that you would want to take up, right? What are the things that you would like to discuss? What is the kind of paperwork you would like to have, and actually sit together and draft some paperwork for this committee. All of this coming together forms, in one word, lobbying, right? And negotiation is also a very, very important part of it, which means that you're trying to create a win-win situation. You will not be in a position to say that it's going to be my way or the highway, like you see the actual leaders doing, right? So if we tend to replicate them, it's going to be my way or highway. But no, the idea is to build up a consensus, to create a win-win situation. And that is exactly what negotiation is. So that is also a part of lobbying that you do. So therefore, interacting prior to the conference is not something that you will be marked on, but I think that can decide the course of the debate better.
Right, sir.
All right, Sarthak, we'll take the next query on position papers.
Right.
And quickly, guys, please wrap this position paper queries quickly, because we have to move to the ROP now.
Yes, so I can see Japan raising their hand.
Yes, Delegate of Japan.
Yes. I know that we are running sort of a little in time, but Shivam sir, there's just one little clarification that I required as an extension to what you just said right now. Sir, owing to the fact that I completely agree, all those things they help towards the course of the debate, and like to its entirety they hold a part of lobbying. Sir, owing to the fact that I was just added to the group last night, so I did not really have much chance to either help in deciding the course of the debate or interact with other people. Sir, would that have any? So basically, I did not have enough time to match up with other delegates in power of their participation in what we assume is lobbying. So how would how should I go about it then? Like, how would I be normalized to their?
So this is for you and everybody. Sorry, do you have anything further to add?
No, sir. It was just this query as to how would I be like graded upon the same.
Yes. So this is for you and everybody else. At the very beginning, we told you that this session, which we are having today, will comprise of 4 things: introductions, position papers, rules of procedure, and lobbying. So after we are done with the ROP, we want to leave you here with each other, right? And that is exactly wherein you, I think, can contribute if you were not a part of the negotiations before.
All right, sir. So will that be like, will the chairs be here during that session, or will it just be considered on the direction that you see tomorrow?
Don't worry about us.
All right.
Even if
fair
we
enough.
are here, we will be mute spectators.
Yes, sir. That's all I really wanted to know.
Okay.
All right, Bhavya, is there any other question?
No, there's no
With regards to
hands
any other
raised.
questions of the position paper, please text me, yours truly. We're now going to move on to the rules of procedure because we have a paucity of time and many people have their personal obligations to take care of as well. Shivam sir, over to you.
Thank you, Sarthak. So firstly, I would like to ask all of you that which rules of procedure would you prefer us taking up for this committee? Now, this question is essentially for those who have been to MUNs before or who have attended online conferences, because I don't think first timers really will be in a position to vote on this aspect. Now, there are 2 rules of procedure. One is UNA USA, which is very popular, especially in the Mumbai and Pune MUN circuit. And the other one that is recommended to us by the Secretariat, and of course this is subject to our discretion, is the UN for MUN rules of procedure. Because this conference is being conducted in collaboration with the United Nations Information Center for India and Bhutan, so they have this requirement. Now, when I was asked about this, that which procedure you would be taking, so my answer was that and I think Sarthak, Bhavya, we are comfortable with both the procedures. We don't mind, right? So why not we give you the opportunity to decide the procedure that you would want to have for this committee. UNA USA or UN for MUN are your 2 options. So what we will request all of you now is to let us know which procedure you would prefer, and we can do that by yes or no votes with the options which are available in the participant box. However, if you're not sure about which one, say for instance, if you're a first timer, you may not vote. Okay, so that's up to you whether you want to vote or not. But if you have a strong preference towards one or the other procedure, please cast your vote. Yes and no options are available. Now, for all those of you who want UNA USA rules of procedure, vote yes. And for all those of you who want UN for MUN procedure, vote no. So it will be a simple tick and cross. Vote right now. I'll repeat again. If you want UNA USA, vote yes, the green tick. And if you want UN for MUN, which means you don't want UNA USA, then vote on no, which is the cross, the red cross. We'll give you 10-15 more seconds.
Sir, if you could please in 2 minutes elaborate what is UN for MUN, because I'm aware of UNA USA, but I don't know what is UN for MUN.
So if you're aware of UNA USA, what I would like to specifically draw your attention towards is the fact that UN4MUN is also not very different. However, UNA USA has a lot of points, right, and rights available, but under the UN4MUN procedure, you only have the point of order on the executive board, right? You also have informal consultations, which could be formal, informal, or informal. Another name for moderated or unmoderated caucus. Time limit is a very crucial aspect because here there is no set time limit, unlike the UNA USA rules of procedure. And formal consultations comprise of your basically general speakers list under the UNA USA. I explained this to you in UNA USA parlance because you said you have attended that before. So you would understand perhaps the difference between these two. Now the rules of procedure that have been shared with you by the Secretariat, that's UN4MUN. So if you have any further doubts on this specific procedure, that's the ROP document which is provided to you by the Secretariat itself. It has the UNIC logo. So if you open it, it is UN4MUN ROP. Okay. So I hope that clarifies your doubt, ma'am.
Yeah, sir. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So Bhavya, what's the vote count?
Nine yes.
Okay. There's no.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope Manas and Sejal are watching this. We made it a very democratic process and everybody wants UNA USA in this committee. So with that understanding, we will start with the explanation of the UNA USA rules of procedure. And before we start, I have a sincere request to all of you delegates. I'm typing something in the chat box. Please have a look at it because this is very important. From today till Sunday. And this is point of inquiry. So under the UNA USA rules of procedure, this is the most important point, especially when you're a first timer. You don't know what's going on in the committee. And before you say what the hell, just say point of inquiry, right? And whatever procedural doubt you have about the committee, you can ask us directly by raising this point and we will clarify it for you. Now, we will relax this point to include any other query which is not strictly procedural in nature. For example, what's there for lunch? Oh, sorry, that's a bad question because it's a virtual conference. So maybe something like, how do I, raise my hand? I don't know that, right? Even a technical query could be addressed to us using this point. So point of inquiry as per the UNA USA rules of procedure is meant for clarification on procedural status of the meeting. This is rule 17 that I'm referring to. But as we said, we are relaxing it for you to include any sort of query that you have, and we will be very happy to clarify it for you. So even now, while we address this, and once I'm done with the explanation of the procedure, you will unmute yourself, say point of inquiry, and ask us whatever query you have. So please start utilizing it from today itself. So that's number one. Now I will come to the type of debate that we follow under the UNA USA rules of procedure. So you have formal debate and you have informal debate. Formal debate comprises of general speakers list or GSL. What is GSL? GSL is where you speak for a minute and a half. Obviously, you can change the time limit by raising a motion, and I'll come to that later. But you give your general stance on the agenda under the general speakers list. Now, when I say your stance, I'm not asking your stance as Sakshi or as Nipa or as Abir. I'm not asking your stance, your individual stance. I'm asking your country stance. Something that you have already put in your research, your position paper. Because you have already done this exercise, you will not find it very hard. At least your first GSL is going to be smooth enough because you can always brief about, everything that you stand for generally on the agenda itself. You are aware of the agenda, you are aware of your country, you have to link the two, and you have to present your stance generally on the agenda in the general speakers list. So I hope I'm clear with this. Now, supposing you have the time limit of 90 seconds set, and you speak for 90 seconds, well and good. So Bhavya, no, I think Devika here will be displaying the time on the screen. So we'll have that. But suppose you speak for 30 seconds and you're left with 60 seconds. What will you do with that time? Just raise your hand to answer this question. Delegate of Romania.
Yes, sir. We can yield our time to the chair or to questions or to comments.
All right, that's mostly correct. So you yield your time, and for first timers, yielding time means you give away your time, right? So your first option is you can yield your time to the executive board, right? Which is you yield your time to the chair. We move on to the next speaker. You can yield your time to questions, and this is another point which I would like to clarify. It's called point of information, POI. Point of information. You can note down these points if you're a first timer. So point of information basically means you ask the delegate a question based on the speech made by the delegate, and if there is any time left and yielded, as I've already explained. And the other way to yield your time is to another delegate, in which case your remaining time goes to the other delegate. Am I very clear with this? If I am clear so far, just raise your hands, please, in the chat box. I think this is the only way I can realize if you're following, whatever I'm saying or not. Okay, great, super. And if you have any doubt, just note them down. By the time I finish, you will mostly not have any doubts. But if you still have any doubts, you please note them down, and we'll take them in one go towards the very end. So you yield it to another delegate. Now the question is, supposing Denmark yields his remaining time to the delegate of Romania, right? But the delegate of Romania is not there. Delegate of Romania is on mute. The camera is also off, and we don't know. And the delegate of Romania is surprised कि मुझे time कब yield हुआ, So don't do that. Please intimate at least the other delegate if at all you plan to yield your remaining time to another delegate. So this takes care of your GSL speeches. I have already covered point of inquiry and point of information. Another important point which I would like to cover is point of order. See, we are explaining the rules of procedure to you. And it is possible, because we are human beings, that we commit certain errors, procedural or an error of judgment. Error of judgment is something you can't take care of, because we will mark you based on how you speak, what you speak, and everybody has a different perception about those things. But error of procedure is something which is in your hands, you can control. So if you see us not complying with the procedure or committing any procedural error in the committee, you can raise a point of order, and we will immediately consider your request. This has to be with respect to the observance of the rules of procedure in the committee, or to the way that we are exercising our powers as per Rule 15 of the UNA-USA ROP. So when you look at these 2 points, and if you see that maybe we are misusing our powers, and I must say this, a lot of times what happens is that when you chair, you come across people who have been into your committee. I'm sure a lot of you must have been in my committee before. I'm sure a lot of you may have, been in Sarthak's committee before, or would have been in the same committee as Sarthak before. But at least in my personal capacity, and I've seen Sarthak also because I've chaired with him, we don't outrightly recognize any such delegates. Like even if we know you personally, we don't, interact with you in a like we would otherwise outside the committee, because we want to keep it a very, very professional setup. And similarly, with respect to the observance of the rules of procedure, it is very important, because if we are explaining something to you and if we are not following it, you are responsible to bring us to our toes and raise point of order. So I have explained point of order to you. And now I will be explaining to you a point which is highly misused, especially in online or offline, sorry, conferences. I don't know about online. How will you misuse this? I don't know, but point of personal privilege, right? What is point of personal privilege? It must refer to a matter of personal comfort, or rather discomfort. When you're not feeling comfortable in the committee for any reason whatsoever, you can raise a point of personal privilege. Online simulations, I don't know, but maybe yes, something like if somebody is giving a speech and that delegate is not audible to you at all, you can raise a point of personal privilege. But do not ask us, because I've chaired a few conferences online, please do not ask us or ask the delegates to repeat their speeches with the reason that, sorry, I got disconnected. That is not our problem, because everybody keeps getting disconnected here, there, everywhere, and if we keep doing that, we will never be able to proceed. So this is the misuse and use that I'm coming to insofar as an online conference is concerned. If you're facing some technical glitch, right? If you're facing some technical difficulty, you can raise a point of personal privilege, because personal comfort we can't take care of. You are at your homes, you are you're in a very comfortable zone. That's what we assume. So that's point of personal privilege. We have already explained point of information and inquiry to you. Point of order also has been explained to you. Another interesting point, or rather right, is called as right of reply. Can anybody explain to me what right of reply or right to reply is? Please raise your hands if you would like to explain that to me. Bhutan.
Yes, sir. So, sir, the right to reply is exercised basically when the delegate finds that there is some factual discrepancy in the speech of another delegate, or there is something wrong. So to correct that or to reply for anything with respect to the stance of their own country, this right is exercised.
I disagree with you, sir. And good that you mentioned this, because a lot of people mistake point of order to mean what you just said. What you just said is a classic example of a frivolous point of order. I won't call it frivolous. I would just call it a general lack of understanding, because a lot of delegates think that if you find somebody making a factually inaccurate statement, you can raise a point of order on that. But as I've already clarified, point of order is strictly meant for correcting procedural inaccuracy. So that's number one. But right of reply is something very different. And let's see if anybody else has to say anything about it. Japan.
Thank you so much, sir. So I think that right of reply or right to reply is a speech given by a delegate if in case a delegate is personally attacked. There are certain procedures. In the past, it is considered that whenever there is a breach of sovereignty in terms of addressing a delegate, often a delegate is given a right of reply to that derogatory set of statements, sir. But I believe that as per new and updated procedures, it is only if in case a delegate personally attacks someone, which could be more like an equity thing than something that is in terms of emulsions. So if a delegate ends up saying that the delegate of Japan fails to understand the concerns of African people just because he's white, now this is a derogatory statement in itself, because he's personally attacking me, that is independent of the agenda, in which case I would be given a right to reply or right of reply to address the matter in whatever substance that it has come up with.
And what happens after that?
Sir, after that, I believe that the floor is then the floor then goes back to the moderators for them to act on it. Either it is followed by an apology, or if or generally by an apology, and if not, it is up to the chair who could see how the situation can be dealt in the best possible manner.
Since you're a law student, let me have the liberty to ask you, do we follow the principles of natural justice
Definitely,
on governing the right of reply?
I believe so, sir, because again, Audi alterum partem is something that everyone should stick to, and if both sides, none of the sides should be condemned unheard is something that we believe. So if a derogatory allegation is made, then definitely the other side needs to be heard, sir. But I believe that this.
But is it done in practice?
Oh, not really, sir. I don't think it is done in practice. Uh, it would be appreciated if it were, but unfortunately, that's the bitter truth that we need to accept.
All right. So, all right. So I think what we will try to do is, and I think the delegate of Japan is right in saying that in a lot of conferences that you will come across, breach of sovereignty continues to be a ground for adjudicating upon a right of reply. And I'm not criticizing any specific moderator or anyone who follows that, because at the end of the day, all procedural matters are subject to discretion of the chair. This one sentence puts everything else, as of minimal importance under the UNA-USA rules of procedure. But insofar as the right of reply is concerned, what we will allow are instances of a grave personal insult. And if you didn't hear me correctly, or if you are likely to forget it later, please note this down: instances of a grave personal insult. And any right of reply should be submitted in writing to the executive board. You're not entitled to make a speech about it as to how you were personally insulted, right? And we don't go back and forth like you see, or you may have seen, or hopefully not at your previous conferences. So it has to be submitted in writing. There is no appeal provision over here. This is because this right is granted after the speech is completed, and if at all the chairperson wants, being us, me and Sarthak in the committee, we can, if we want, inform the Secretary General about the circumstances, but no ruling is subject to appeal. So you don't have any principles of natural justice over here. You don't even have appeals over here. But we are also not allowing all the other grounds, which is breach of sovereignty, classic one being breach of territorial sovereignty, that you will see being done at a lot of conferences. So we would take it only in case of a grave personal insult, and we would not expect it to be there at all, because we expect you to be courteous to each other, to follow diplomacy to the core. And if you follow that, there will never be an occasion of this right arising, or for you to have such grievance in the committee. But we did explain it to you because it's a part of the procedure. Now, we are done with the formal side of the debate. The difference between right to reply and right to follow up. Good question, Delegate of Romania. So there is no right to follow up. You don't have right to follow up. You have a plea to follow up. Correct? And your plea to follow up, yes, your plea to follow up is to a question, a point of information which you have already asked. So supposing you ask another delegate, when of course the time is yielded to POIs, a question, and you don't get a satisfactory response, and you have a follow-up question on that. So you will first ask our permission. You will say plea to follow up, and if we feel that you may, that's why we said that's why it's not a right, because we decide whether to take it up or not. If it were a right, a matter of right, then I think you would have just gone ahead, and permission on this would have been merely technical in nature. So it's plea to follow up. So once we recognize you for asking a plea to follow up, you will be allowed to ask your question, your follow-up question on that. All right, Delegate of Romania, is your doubt clarified? Okay, great. So that takes us now to the informal debate. Now, your informal debate consists of moderated caucus and unmoderated caucus. Loosely, I can say that this is referred to as formal informal proceedings under the UN4MUN procedure. Formal informal being the moderated caucus, and informal being the unmoderated caucus, because it's not moderated by the chairperson. This is just for your understanding. So moderated caucus and unmoderated caucus are the two types of motions that you can raise to enter into an informal debate. Bhavya, could you please spell these out in the chat box for the convenience of the delegates? The spelling of moderated caucus and unmoderated caucus. And I would now request one of you to raise a moderated caucus motion. Can anyone please do that? Raise your hand if you could do that right now. Delegate of Japan, yes.
The delegate, sir, owing to the fact that we are currently in a formal debate, I would now raise a motion for a moderated caucus. The delegate of Japan would like to suspend formal debate and move into a moderated caucus on the topic ABC for a total time limit 10 minutes and an individual speaker time limit being 1 minute, being 60 seconds. Sorry.
10 minutes and 1 minute per speaker. Good. So this is exactly how you raise a motion for a moderated caucus. Sarthak is clapping. And I would just, once again repeat it, because for first timers, this may be a bit overwhelming to see all these motions coming through. You see, we are doing it because this is a highly balanced committee. We have very experienced delegates over here. We have a lot of first timers over here. So we have to take care of everybody's interests. So please bear with us if we are exceeding the time a bit, but we are doing it so that everybody benefits from this, especially the first timers. He first mentioned, the delegate of Japan, the first thing that he said, that the delegate of Japan would like to suspend formal debate. Why do you do that? Because earlier you were in the GSL, right? So you have to suspend that, and now you're switching to informal debate. Therefore, you say this, that the delegate of Japan would like to suspend formal debate and enter into a moderated caucus. Then you specify the topic, X, Y, Z, or whatever topic you would want to take up. Now, this is very important. I'll come to this after specifying the time limit. The topic is very important. The topic being X, Y, Z over here. Then you specify the total time limit and per speaker time limit. If total time specified by Japan was 10 minutes and per speaker time was 1 minute, then there will be 10 speakers which will be recognized in this motion. And they will speak. Now, let me come to the topic. They will speak on a specific topic. Now, why do we have a moderated caucus? You see, the agenda is very broad, right? And in your GSL speeches, as I already said, you can speak on anything under the sun insofar as the agenda is concerned. So when is it that you enter into specific subtopics, right? You must have seen certain subtopics that you would like to discuss within the larger agenda in the committee on the group. Without making any comments on that, assume if the agenda of this committee were capital punishment, right? Now, there are various aspects attached to it, right? Capital punishment being death sentence. So you can talk about the history of capital punishment. You can talk about the economic impact of capital punishment. You can talk about human rights and capital punishment. You can talk about the advantages. You can talk about different theories of punishment. There are so many different theories on this. Basically, there are so many sub-issues that you can cover. But you can't cover them in your GSL because everybody says whatever they want to on the agenda. So if you at all want to raise a specific sub-issue, you enter into a moderated caucus. And then, of course, you have an unmoderated caucus. It's very simple. The motion is as follows, that the delegate of New Zealand would like to suspend formal debate and enter into an unmoderated caucus, and you specify the time limit. Say, for instance, 10 minutes. What happens once you raise an unmoderated caucus? Unmoderated. Notice this word. It's self-explanatory. Most of these terms are self-explanatory. I think somebody asked a question to Sarthak about brief background on the agenda and the position paper. This itself is self-explanatory. I don't know how to explain this. Right? But unmoderated here means that this is your time to lobby with each other. This is your time to negotiate with each other without our moderation and supervision. Supervision may be there, but definitely moderation is absent. We don't moderate the unmoderated caucus. So you are free to talk to each other, informally, and speak, decide the flow of the debate, decide how the committee should progress, decide the paperwork, finalize the paperwork. That's your time, and you can take it at any time, right? So this is the unmoderated caucus. Now, there's a question from the delegate of New Zealand. Are substantial chits allowed? So this gives me the opportunity to also explain you the format of chits to, let's say, USA from UK via EB. This is optional. 1 second, I'm just typing it. And then your question, comment. Oh, I know it's Switzerland, but just Switzerland, just see before you, there is a question, same question from Delegate of New Zealand. And you're messaging me privately. That's why I didn't take your name. Send. So just look at the chat box. This is the format of the chit, you know. Chit, I don't know if I should call it chit. Let's call it a diplomatic note that you will be sending to the other delegates in this committee. This is the format which you will follow. Now, it's not necessary, by the way, it's not necessary that you should send it via EB. You will send it via EB only if you want us to take note of it. Now, what are substantive chits? This is an interesting question. It's not substantial chits, it's substantive chits. So, you know, say for instance, you were supposed to mention 3 points. I'm just giving you an example, and of course you can make your own judgment about this. So you were supposed to cover 3 points in your GSL speech, but the time gets over, right? And you couldn't mention the 3rd point. That's when you can send a chit, a substantive chit to the executive board, adding that 3rd point. So that you will send to us directly to EB from Romania, right? And you will add that point. That will be considered as a substantive chit. But please try and cover your points in the speeches. We are not here to read your diplomatic notes if you don't choose to speak in the committee, right? We are giving you chances. It's a small committee and you don't choose to speak, but you're only sending diplomatic notes or chits. That's something we would not prefer. Yes, however, if you don't get a chance to speak, or if you couldn't cover a point in your speech, you're free to send us a substantive chit, right? That also brings me to paperwork for this committee, but that's something we will not be explaining today. That is not necessary right now. And also because we understand that there are a lot of first timers in this committee. So we will explain to you paperwork separately tomorrow during the second half. What is the paperwork that is expected from this committee? We will explain that to you tomorrow. So don't worry about the paperwork right now, be it working paper, report, resolution. Don't think about it right now. Only paperwork that you should be worrying about right now is your position paper. If you're not submitted it, the 20% marks are assigned to it. So if you don't submit it, you are losing it, you know, and we don't think that you will be able to, anything else will be able to compensate for that. So please, please, please submit your position papers by tonight, and tomorrow come up with your basic speeches prepared, right? And we will explain the paperwork in the second half of the session tomorrow, whenever we feel it's the right time to do so. So that brings us to the end of the rules of procedure session right now. And we will be taking any and every query that you have right now on the procedure that has been explained to you, post which we will leave you here for lobbying, and you can confirm it with the secretariat as to how long can you stay here, because I'm sure even they have their own you know, commitments. So we will ask them and get back to you on this. But before that, if you have any query. Firstly, did you follow what was explained to you? Did you understand the things that were explained to you? If yes, just raise your hands. And if you didn't understand, then I will call out your name right now. So if your hand is not raised, I will call out your name and I'll ask you, what is it that you didn't understand? Okay, thanks. So I think most of you did, right? Okay, some of you have put the yes vote. Okay, great. So let's do one thing right now. If you have any questions, just unmute yourself and ask that to me directly. Simply unmute yourself and ask me.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes.
So this question was in regards to the idea of substantial chits. Sir, although I completely understand where you're coming from when you say that speeches that are not finished can be addressed via chits in form of substantive chits. Sir, but owing to the nature of the conference where we're in an online forum and the ease of internet access will just allow flooding of data, that flooding of backdoor data, in fact, something that never came up in the committee, but would still remain to be something that each of us would be graded upon. Sir, it would, I think, sir, is there any provision where we could only allow questions in form of chits, because they would require more understanding rather than just a blatant attempt of using internet in a manner where we just flood the executive board with lots of information. So because if we only allow questions and count them as substantive chits, so then do you think, sir, it would make more sense in terms of the right working of the committee, in keeping in mind that it's an online conference with ease of internet access?
See, that's a very good question, Delegate. And actually, I think a few days back, I was discussing it with Sarthak. And we were wondering, why is it that numbers matter so much, you know? Why can't we focus on quality? Of course, we were talking in a different context. Lok Sabha, rules of procedure, start and unstart questions. But I think the same rule applies over here. If you send us material copy pasted from the internet as substantive chits, don't expect us to mark you on that, you know, until and unless something is absolutely necessary that you really, you know, I've already clarified this. You did not get a chance to speak. That could be one reason, you know, and the other reason would be that the time limit got over and maybe 1 point got left. Now, these are exceptional circumstances. This will not happen in a recurring fashion. And if we see that happening, we will bring that delegate in order. And we will say that, delegate, every time you're not finishing your speeches on time, right? So please try and address all your points in your speech, because at the end of the day, if at all you're not able to cover your points and you're sending substantive chits, it is also a question of articulation and how you put forth those points. Time management is an essential skill, and we will appreciate delegates who are able to put forth their points in a precise manner, in an articulate manner within the time limit that is set, right? And that's how you will also be marked upon. So this question I appreciate, Delegate of Japan, because a lot of people think like this. They think, let me address all my points in the general speakers list, right, whenever I get a chance. And then whatever is left, I'll send it across to the EB. So GSL also I gave, and I'm sending substantive chit also.
Yes,
But
sir.
that's
The only reason, sir,
yeah.
Sorry for interrupting, sir, but the only reason why I brought it up is because I completely get the rationale behind like having this into functioning. So, but many of the time delegate exploited by sending a lot of data. So, but my only problem with that is that even if there are certain things the delegate couldn't address in GSLs and send it via chats, that data still remains something that other delegates were never privy to. So that's something we could never engage in the first place, sir. So if like if prioritizing your important points is sort of an important element for every delegate, if they deem that what particular point that they sort of are scaling through via, if they deemed it to be so important, then prioritizing them to bring them up in the speech should have been the ideal way for an ideal delegate, sir. So I was just trying to pitch in that direction, but I completely get like where you're coming from, sir.
Shivam sir.
Yeah.
Can I suggest a solution to this quandary?
Yeah, of course, Sarthak.
Sir, तो इसमें हम क्या कर सकते हैं? There are two things that I would also want to bring to the attention of every delegate, especially the delegate of Japan. That the marking scheme for every substantive shit is going to be different from that of a speech. So it's going to be way lesser. So no matter what sort of data or what sort of figures, facts, statements, assertions, jo bhi submissions that are made, they are not going to be marked at any pedestal which is close to the marking that will be given to the speech. That's one. Secondly, when it comes to the concern that I as XYZ delegate am going to send in a lot of data all at once in the name of a substantive chit, इसमें ये भी देखना है कि we are only going to consider till that part of the substantive chit which is in the train of thought in which the certain delegate last spoke. So for example, when it comes to capital punishment, if I am talking about how capital punishment does not reform, and then in the same substantive chit, मैं reformation के बारे में बात किया, and then I talk about what's happening in Saudi Arabia. That part where I'm speaking about Saudi Arabia will not be taken into consideration because that's a completely new thought. And the third and the last thing also to take Shivam sir's consideration on this, कि मैं खाली बैठा हूँ. So if I get, so since I would also have some time and the kind of effort that I can put in to check if this is an absolute cut, copy, paste from a certain site, because the entire understanding is कि XYZ delegate छाप के internet के किसी भी source से दे दे रहा है. If we find that, then I think Shivam sir has all the authority in his ambit to penalize in whichever way he deems fit. So in whichever way sir आप देखो, Delegate of Japan, it's a foolproof watertight compartment. Substantive chits will not be misused.
No, definitely, sir. Marking was not even my concern, sir. I can definitely understand the
No,
parameters.
Sir, the reason as to why I'm putting it out here is that any person who would still want to play with fire is doing bravado for no good reason.
Definitely, sir. Definitely.
Shivam, sir, off to you.
Yeah, thank you, Sarthak. Sarthak, do you think that we should have a separate WhatsApp group for the purposes of chits, or should we do it on Zoom chat?
Sir, हमारे पास मेल है ना, तो अगर ये लोग अगर हमें मेल पे भेज रहे हैं, then it is going to be more secure, because all they have to do is say Delegate of Japan is sending something to Delegate of Chile. All he has to do is copy that and put it on the mail and send it to us.
No, but emailing would be a too, I don't know. It could be too technical for them.
So now the thing is, substantive chits ho या फिर via EB chits ho should be rare instances where they want our attention to the issue at hand. I understand it's a little technical and tedious, but then the problem with Zoom chat is अगर आप Zoom chat छोड़ के कहीं और जा रहे हैं, then the entire history will get wiped out.
So let's form a separate WhatsApp group for this. No, only for diplomatic notes. Do you all agree with that?
Could do.
Definitely, sir.
Ishan, you want to say something? Sorry, Ishan.
Yes, Shivam. So if there were two things. One thing was about the time constraint. If we could have this up before 9, because we
yeah, of course. Yes, and thank you for staying back for so long. Yeah.
Second thing, we'll make the WhatsApp group. We'll put the link in the main group. The members can.
Yeah. So, but do you think it's a good idea to have a separate group only for chits?
Yes.
Both.
I personally follow it because so it's transparent and everyone knows what chits are being sent. So that even addresses Japan's point.
Okay. Are the delegates okay with it, or do you have any other suggestions? If you're okay with it, just raise your hands. So that we know that you're okay with having a separate WhatsApp group only for the purposes of chits. Okay, great. I think then the Secretariat can create a separate WhatsApp group for this purpose. All right.
Sir, बस एक दिक्कत है. Via EB chits will not get lost in transition. So considering कि एक पूरा अलग WhatsApp group रहेगा, जिसमें everyone sending chits to everybody else, will via EB chits not be lost in the middle of the number of chits which are sent to each other?
I think what we can do is, as we have already explained the format to them, when you're going through these chats on the separate groups, Sarthak, you can take note of the via EB chits separately. Do it session by session so that you don't have too many chits to look at the same time, right?
Okay.
And I mean, the more the better. No, good that they are engaging with each other. So that's good for us. But understand this, delegates, that as I said, all the chits are not supposed to be via EB. You can ask your questions directly that you want to. But if your chit is via the EB, the answer to that chit also has to be via the EB, right? So please write via EB on the answer. Otherwise, Sarthak or I will miss out on that, because we will note only those chits in which via EB is specifically written. Otherwise, if you don't want us to take note of it, don't mention via EB.
Sir, if you're doing it on WhatsApp, and sir, just for the benefit of the EB, when we do it on WhatsApp, sir, and if it's like a chit via EB, there's always an option to put an @ and tag either Sarthak or like Shivam, sir, there. So that way, if at any point of time we say @ Sarthak, so that he would get a notification that there's some chit that is addressed to him, meaning that it would be via EB. and so that would
Yeah.
sort of increase the clarity and like just for you all to keep a track of it.
Sarthak, is that fine with you?
That works for me, sir.
Okay. Okay, great. So one WhatsApp group for, by the way, so far I've been saving all the chats on Zoom. You have that option. But anyhow, we will follow the group now that the Secretariat and delegates have agreed to that. All right, due to paucity of time, we will straight away be going to any other queries that you may have about the procedure. And with that, we'll end the session. As in, we'll give you 10-15 minutes to speak to yourselves. And 9 o'clock, we have to end it as Ishan has already told us.
Sir, I had a doubt that.
So, okay. Yes, Delegate.
Yeah, so I had a doubt that the 20 marks are allotted to the position paper. So, sir, could you please tell us about the other 80 marks, like just this thing breakup?
Yes. So 20 marks, as you rightly pointed out, have been allocated to the position papers. And the other marks that we will be giving you would be on the following broad areas. So the first point under the marking scheme would be the lobbying and negotiation, which we have already spoken about. However, considering it's an online conference, the weightage would not be as high as you would see in offline conferences. So around 10% weightage for that. 40% weightage, which is the biggest weightage, would be for the speeches that you make in the committee. Now, please note that this includes your marks for research and foreign policy, right? So your speeches, what you say in the committee is of paramount importance because it includes marks for research as well as foreign policy. And then the remaining 30 marks would be for procedural aspects, which includes the points, motions you raise, and of course the written communication, the chits that we spoke about.
Sir,
I hope that
I had
answers your query, Delegate of UK.
Yes, sir. Thank
Sir,
you.
the delegate of Bhutan has a query.
Yes, Delegate.
Sir, when there is a point of information raised asking about the source of information which the delegate is basically representing in his speech, can that be entertained?
No, send a chit for that.
Okay, sir.
Sir, before Delegate of Japan raises...
Sir, I just required a general clarity on something.
Go ahead, Delegate of Japan.
No, sir, it's okay. I'll go after you.
Thank you. So, sir, Shivam sir, to add on to this one facet which I believe everyone should be aware of, please don't send chits because you would be marked upon it. As sir has already pointed out, sending things like what is the source of this certain data, statistics via EB does not make any sense because it would be taken into consideration, but it will not be marked upon. The executive board should only be involved in the dealings of two sovereign states only because it is of that high an importance or that rudimentary that we have to be involved. So to add on to Shivam sir's point, please be very wary of the kind of chits which you mark, for which you mark the @ of Shivam, Jain, Kakadia or Sarthak, Bhattamishra, because they would also adversely reflect on your markings if they are frivolous. Just to put it out there. Delegate of Japan by all means.
Yes. This question is like directed towards Sarthak and Shivam sir, obviously. It could happen, it might be because of my lack of understanding of policy-oriented committees or probably committees in general. So, but could you please, for a better clarity, explain as to how does a foreign policy change in a policy-oriented discussion, especially sir in like committees like WHA or in committees like UNFCCC, where the debate is a lot more nuanced in terms of policy and like the technical aspects of it. So, sir, under such committees, sir, how is the foreign policy like how do we exhibit or project a foreign policy?
All right, Delegate of Japan. That's a very good question. I wish we had more time to explain it to you, but considering we don't have a lot of time, I would give you an example. I was chairing, I think, TechFest 2 years ago, or I don't remember which edition. And we had Delegate of USA and China, and this committee was, I think, World Trade Organization. So we had USA and China in that specific committee. And they had, formed two blocks, as we call it. And all the time, China was opposing that specific draft resolution that was prepared, primarily authored and sponsored by the Delegate of the United States of America. But the Delegate of China was very good with lobbying. So at the end of the day, when we were voting on the amendments to the draft resolution, the Delegate of China was able to pass an amendment which completely changed the stance of the Delegate of the United States of America as the sponsor of that paper. And therefore, at the end of the day, when that resolution passed, and you must have seen people voting and reserving their right speeches, that was also a classic example wherein they gave their right speeches telling as to how their best interests or foreign policy changed. So foreign policy is thrown around as a concept which is very technical nature, where it's really not. You have to care about your best interests. However, at the same time, you have to be willing to compromise. So if you're creating a win-win situation, and we can see that, that's exactly what your purpose should be in a committee like this. So there, although USA was the sponsor of the draft resolution, at the end of the day, USA voted no, with rights, of course, and explained to the committee why best interests of USA were compromised with that kind of trade deal, giving the economics behind it also. So we allowed, in fact, that delegate to speak for more than 30 seconds, which is your usual time for a right speech. So what is it that you take care of when you're talking about foreign policy? It is your own best interest, your sovereign interests as a country. And similarly, China, who was voting against it, voted in favor of it, because that completely turned around the paperwork, and that right speech was also very well appreciated. And China said how it will now benefit from this paperwork, the best interest principle, right? I don't know if they created a win-win situation, because it was a very adverse position. It is very much possible for each one of you to come to a win-win situation and create some sort of compromise, and that should not be seen as a deviation from foreign policy. At least we will not see it that way. If you're keeping your best interest in mind and yet you're willing to create a win-win situation, a compromise, that is something which we will be appreciating. So
thank you, sir. Noted.
Because I'm saying this also, I wish we had more time, but I'm saying this because we go with in our mind that no, these are countries against us, and these are the countries who are in favor of us. So let's form blocks and let's create a paperwork within our own block, and then let's see who gets the majority. Wherein actually United Nations is what? You're supposed to work together, right? And a good diplomacy skills require you to do that, to be able to negotiate, lobby, etc., and create a win-win situation, which I've already told you.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Okay. Any other doubts, queries, questions? Egypt, your hand is raised.
Okay, sorry, it was raised for something else.
No problem. Delegate of Finland?
Yes, sir. So my query is regarding the marking scheme. Sir, you mentioned no marking weightage for the paperwork. Is there one, or does that come under the chits and diplomacy segment?
It will. So position papers already have 20% weightage, right?
No, I'm not talking about the position paper. I'm talking about the
so any other paperwork will come under the procedural aspects, which includes written communication, including your paperwork in the committee and the chits that you send. That has 30% weightage.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Delegate of Bhutan, you have a question. Your hand is raised.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So, sir, basically, are the violation of any foreign policies included in the drafts? Let us say, for example, that an axis come into contact with the opposition country, with whom the foreign policies of a country doesn't match. So, sir, in that cases, do they form part of the signatories, and are they considered valid?
You can be a signatory to any paperwork that you want to. Being a signatory only means that you want the paperwork to be discussed in the committee. Now, whether you are in favor of it or against it will be clarified during your question and answer session or during the speeches that you made and the final votes. The point is that it doesn't really matter if you are the signatory of a specific document. The conclusion of this is, when you're a signatory, is that you want that paperwork to be discussed in the committee, right? So as long as you want a specific paperwork to be discussed in the committee, you can be a part of that paperwork as a signatory.
All right, sir.
Okay. All right. Seeing no further questions, I'm sure all of you are exhausted by now. So, but anyway, it was great interacting with you. And I think all of you will have a great time in the 2 days that are coming up. We are very, very excited about it. And I hope all of you are also looking forward to it. And we will now, Bhavya, is it possible to give them just 10 minutes in this room?
Yeah, fine. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So all of you are open to, lobby now.
Shivam,
And yes,
there are a
Sarthak.
couple of questions in the chat box, which is about the time limit per speaker. Can I address them?
Yes, please do that.
Thank you. When it comes to moderated caucus timing or the unmoderated caucus timing, it is entirely up to how you raise your motion. So there your executive board does not really have a say. To add on to this one fact that Shivam sir, when he was speaking about moderated caucus timings specifically, the per speaker time should be mathematically dividing the total time. It cannot be 10 minutes total time and per speaker time 45 seconds. Because mathematically that does not give a proper number, a natural number rather. So it can be 10 minutes per speaker time 60 seconds, it can be 10 minutes per speaker time 2 minutes, essentially mathematically divisible hona chahiye. What we can request of you as your executive board is to make it a little equitable so that everyone gets a chance to speak. You also have the opportunity of extending the motion if you so wish to, but only after the time has elapsed. That's one. Secondly, with regards to the general speakers list, it is 90 seconds, which is 1 minute 30 seconds per speaker. Usme agar time bach raha hai, then as sir had mentioned, you have the opportunity of yielding either to the executive board or to another delegate or to points of information. Does that answer your question? Delegate of New Zealand, Delegate of India. I believe there were a couple of other delegates who were asking this question. Does this answer your question? Yeah. Delegate of India?
Yes, sir.
Great. Are there any other questions? Anybody?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll take Finland followed by Japan. Finland, your question.
So my question is, can the GSL time be changed to 2 minutes, 120 seconds?
Sir, considering that we have 30 speakers, that we have 32 delegates, I believe it is going to be very unfair if we make it to be 120 seconds. Considering also that we have only 2 days at hand. Tomorrow the session, if I'm not wrong, starts at 10, has to shut down by 4. The day after, it will start by maybe 9:30. We can start it earlier if the committee is in favor of it. But please do understand the fact that although this is a chotu committee, this is a small committee, but this still has 32 people. Agar 32 mein se 32 want to have at least one shot of making a speech, that is we are effectively looking at 1.5 minutes. That makes it what? Almost 45 seconds, 45 minutes, 50 minutes of GSL only. We have lunch breaks, we have other unmoderated caucuses you would want to take. Some mila jula ke thoda will be on the dicey end. However, if Shivam sir will allow, we can change it. Sir.
I mean, it's not really a question of us allowing Sarthak, because limitation of speaking time can be decided by the delegates. Of course, we have put a limit of 90 seconds. But as per Rule 9, any delegate can raise a motion to increase or even decrease the speaking time, which will be voted upon by the committee at large. Correct. So that to answer your question, delegate, you can raise a motion at a subsequent stage because the time limit has already been set by the speakers as per rule 8 or 9. I'm not sure, one of the rules. So, okay. So this really brings us to but Sarthak has very rightly pointed out that you have to take into account all of these factors, the size of the committee, the fact that it's online, etc. Right.
Yes, sir, got it.
So, okay. So with that, we would be ending the rules of procedure session. We are very sorry. Yes, Sarthak.
So Japan had a question, sir.
Yes, Delegate.
No, so it was not really a question. It was just that now we'll be getting a time to discuss and lobby for like 10 minutes, right? So will the EB be leaving, or will they be like passively here in the committee?
Why? Okay. Will it make any difference? What
Yes,
do you
sir,
want?
actually, I would prefer that like one of you be here so that the discussion is more
So we are here.
civilized.
You should begin with your discussion instead, irrespective of whether we are here or not. It makes no difference because you're not being marked upon. Or maybe you are, but besides the point, you should begin with your discussion. You have a paucity of
Sarthak.
No, sir, it's just that there are too many people. So if there is some authority here, then it's relatively controllable. No one would listen to us, but they would listen to you, sir. That was
But
my
we won't
point.
interfere.
No, we won't interfere. Now we are going to have. We are going. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think we are going to.
listen to what's up. But that's
Yeah.
it. पर
Yeah.
शिवम सर ने भी ये कहा है पहले, हम भी सब मिलके एक बार कह देते हैं, we cannot bug the organizing committee beyond a certain point of time. थोड़ा खींच सकते हैं, it's already 9, so time is of the essence. So make hay while the sun shines. If you people want to have your discussion, please take the permission of the organizing committee and begin right away.
Bhavya, you are here, no?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, so Bhavya is here. She's also a part of the executive board. She's the rapporteur, so she will be here. Okay.
Before Devika, please stop recording. No need for recording the lobbying session.